Misinformation about COVID-19, a plain language guide.
You may have heard of misinformation, but what is it? Misinformation is like lying. Misinformation looks like something that is true, but is not true. The opposite of misinformation is good information. Good information is true. Good information tells you lots of details.
Who makes and spreads misinformation?
Most people who spread misinformation don't realize it. Most people who spread information think that they're spreading good information. People spreading misinformation usually want to tell people about what they heard. Most people do not spread misinformation on purpose. But some people do spread misinformation on purpose. Those people spread misinformation for different reasons. Some people who spread misinformation are trolling. Trolls think it is funny to spread misinformation. They think it is funny when people believe them. Sometimes trolls think it is funny when people get hurt by their misinformation. Trolls are lying. Some people want to spread misinformation because it can make them money. Some people want to spread misinformation to help them politically. People who spread misinformation because it makes them money are lying. People who spread misinformation because it helps them politically are lying. But it is important to remember that most people do not realize they spread misinformation. Sometimes your friends and family believe misinformation. They might have seen it from their friends or family. They think the misinformation is good information. Since we normally trust our friends and family, we might not realize when we hear misinformation. That helps misinformation spread. People who want to spread misinformation know this. They rely on ordinary people to spread their misinformation.
How can I tell if something is good information or misinformation?
It can be hard to tell when something is misinformation. There is no one way to tell if something you are reading or hearing is misinformation. But here are some tips that can help you. First, ask yourself some questions about what you are reading or listening to. For example, who said it? Was it a friend or a family member? Was it an expert on the issue? Is it a newspaper or a news station? Knowing the source of the information can help you figure out if it is good information or misinformation. Second, a lot of misinformation leaves out key details. It does not tell you the whole story. Ask yourself whether what you're reading or listening to is telling the whole story. If something is not telling the whole story, it might be misinformation. A lot of times, misinformation wants you to believe something hard to believe happened. You do not have to believe stories that sound hard to believe. If something sounds hard to believe, that might be because it's not true. Sure, a lot of misinformation tries to make you feel like you were right about something. Sometimes it can be something that makes you happy. Sometimes it can be something that makes you feel anxious, angry, or upset.
A lot of misinformation wants you to feel too angry and upset to think. If a story makes you feel very angry and scared, try to take a deep breath and think about it a lot. Misinformation you see tries to make you feel scared, and it tries to make you want to trust people spreading misinformation. Often misinformation is very simple story.
All this said, there is good information out there that is really upsetting. COVID-19, for example, is really upsetting. Natural disasters are also upsetting. Something being scary doesn't make it misinformation. But if a post tells a story that is really scary and upsetting, it is a good idea to check to see if it is true, if it is good information, if it is misinformation. So, how do you check? There are a lot of resources online that try to help people figure out if something is misinformation or not. We linked some websites to check out down in the description below.
Are people spreading misinformation about COVID-19? Spoiler alert, yes.
A lot of people spread misinformation about big events. Sometimes that kind of misinformation is called conspiracy theory. The COVID-19 pandemic is a big event. It has hurt everyone. Everyone impacted. A lot of people have spread misinformation about COVID-19. A lot of people have spread misinformation about masks. A lot of people have spread misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines and COVID boosters.
Where can I find good information about COVID-19?
There is a lot of great places to get good information on COVID-19. Remember, good information will give you lots of details and does not try to make you too upset to think. In King County, you can go to King County Department of Public Health. We have linked their website below. They have a page for frequently asked questions and you can check current COVID-19 data. For example, you can check how many people tested positive for COVID-19 or how many people are in the hospital with COVID-19. Another great site from the CDC. The CDC is a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They have a map showing how many people in the country are in the hospital for COVID-19. That's the community levels map. They have another map that shows how many people are getting affected with COVID-19. That's the community transmission map. You can find both maps at the CDC COVID data tracker webpage. We have linked that below. Good information on COVID-19 will use data from CDC or regional public health agency like King County Public Health. We at the Arca King County are committed to sharing good information with you. I have made some Getting Healthy with Eric videos about wearing masks.
How do I confront misinformation?
If you figure out that something is misinformation, it's hard to tell other people about it. It's hardest to tell friends, family that they spread misinformation. It's uncomfortable, but it's okay to do that. If you figure out that a friend or family member spread misinformation, it is important to tell them. They probably don't realize they spread misinformation. Make sure when you tell people that they spread misinformation that they know you are not angry with them. That will help that person feel safe enough to admit they made a mistake. If we all help each other spot misinformation, we will be safer from it. Thank you so much for listening and staying happy and healthy.